I think tennis could be a very big spot for us. I think the aquatics world is there, but we are definitely getting interest from all over the place. I've got lacrosse on the pipeline. There is really no end. And I think the scalability is really what we're thrilled about, because once this goes in, those facilities or those schools can monetize it. They can actually make more money for themselves at the same time as keeping the community involved and connected.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi, and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. It's Rick Nuske, and today I have somebody lined up who is very special. We're going to be talking with Mr. Mike Peters. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you for having me, Rick. I appreciate it.
Yeah, look, you are the VP National Sales at GoDog Sports. Now, we're going to be taking a deep dive look into that. And, some of the things that stood out for me was timing, and we'll talk a lot more about that in a moment. But first things first, I need to know how it is that you have come to be known as the half shark, alligator, half man.
Oh, I didn't realize you were looking into that. So I guess the direct answer to that, Rick, would be I'm from Florida originally. So, if you think about half sharks, half alligators, that is definitely the melting pot for those animals there.
Well, I appreciate you sharing a bit about your personal life, because I think that gives some great context into today's topic, which is obviously GoDog Game Stream, the business, and your involvement with that. It's, I mentioned timing a little earlier, and I also offline talked to you about my own experiences as a sports coach for youth and how everything stopped at the moment COVID came to be a thing. It's changed our lives, and I'd love for you to, I guess, share your experience, how it came to be that you got involved with GoDog Game Streaming.
Yeah, so about speaking on the coaching side of things, I am still currently coaching my two kids in soccer and baseball. About 3 years ago or so, the guys that are involved with GoDog, we were all part of the same travel baseball team. We quickly realized that, we were making these really amazing memories. We were spending probably 5 to 6 days a week with each other. Everything was great. Our team was doing really well. And, then out of nowhere, you realize, wow, this is really what I want to be doing. But I'm on a plane at least twice a week, flying across the country to do a 1-hour presentation, and then sitting on the plane, thinking about how I wish I was standing on the baseball field with my children. So
yeah,
we put together the idea of, how do you not miss a game? So we started throwing around ideas. Seth, who's our CEO, is very connected in the technology space and has worked there for years. Kind of just put together, the whole idea of game streaming and how to not miss a game, and how, to keep the community involved, whether it's, parents being out of town or at work and can't visit the game, or, my mother who still lives in Florida who gets to watch her grandson play. That really was kind of the catalyst for what happened. So we just, looked at each other and we're like, why don't we start a company? And, I've got sales experience. We've got operations experience with the coaching team we had. So started to build it up, built the proof of concept. That went quite well. It was, kind of a home run, no pun intended. From there, right? Of course I was going to say that. But from there, we started just trucking along, and we're opening we have about 5 or 10 leagues in Southern California that we are working with, and, love the idea. We're still building it up. And then COVID-19 hit, and it just catapulted us into, filling this void and this need where, we want to get kids back to play.
Yeah.
We want schools to be able to allow, even if they don't allow parents to come watch, we want them to be able to drop off and then still be able to view and be a part of that ongoing. So I think it started as a way to not miss a game, and now it's turning into something so much bigger. And we also have the ability to clip highlights, save full games. So if there's that one game that Johnny, just did really well, or hey, it could even be his first hit, we're able to capture that, share that with the community, share that with, grandparents, parents, just people that, want to be involved. And obviously that's a really big, important piece to, children and their development as well.
This seems to be an opportunity with no borders, meaning I play sports myself, and we are in indoor venues. There is absolutely every reason, even outdoor venues, there is every reason why GoDog streaming could be a part of any given sport in any location. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely correct. I know I've mentioned baseball, and that's kind of where we started, just, chatting about it on the field
Yep.
and then developed it. But we've got, high school gyms with volleyball and wrestling and basketball. I got off the phone today with somebody at a school in Tennessee that does the performing arts program. And I think, what our point of difference is that we can actually customize URLs and create certain things for people. So whether it's sports related, whether it's a church, whether it's, performing arts, we can, brand that to the school or the facility's liking. And, I think you're absolutely correct. It's extremely scalable. We don't want to be stuck in baseball forever, where we see the bigger picture. I just brought on somebody based in Atlanta who actually is from Australia originally.
Fantastic.
And he's very involved in tennis. I think tennis could be a very big spot for us. I think the aquatics world is there. But we are definitely getting interest from all over the place. I've got lacrosse, on the pipeline. There's just, there is really no end. And I think the scalability is really what we're thrilled about, because once this goes in, those facilities or those schools can monetize it. They can actually make more money for themselves at the same time as keeping the community involved and connected.
I'd love to talk a little about not only the team at GoDog Game Streaming, but also, I guess, the technology that's actually being used to do this. Could we start a little bit, talk a little bit about the makeup of the team? Because I've seen some fantastic stuff there on the About page.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess it started with the four of us. Seth, who's our CEO, like I said earlier, he's been in the mobile space for quite a long time. He was one of the first guys at Boost Mobile back in the day, and
Mm-hmm.
really just understands how to kind of build a company, and has all the right connections. We're currently talking to some very major sponsors in the U.S. That are interested in possibly even funding installs. So that is a really good piece. But Seth is definitely the brainchild behind that, with the connections, with the technology and everything. We've got a guy named Casey who has a company called Gigcasters, and he's based in Texas, but what he does is he does all the, CTO work for us on the back end. So technology wise, I might not be able to answer all those questions directly, but
Sure.
what we do is we've got cameras that have IP addresses built in that actually compress the data. So we would plug in, let's say, we'll just use a baseball field, for example. We would plug in at the backstop, run that, basically the computer inside of the camera will compress that, send it to the cloud, and that goes straight to Casey and the platform to where we can more or less send the feed wherever we need to go. But it's definitely been a thought out process, and it's definitely for us to kind of compress everything, host it on the platform, and give the ability for DVR storage as well. But you can download clips, you can make highlight reels, and that is also shared monetarily with the venue as well.
There's so many times as a parent that I sit on the side watching a game, and there's different angles, different perspectives that you simply can't get if you're sitting on the sidelines. I bet you get some good bird's eye view of the games that are going on, and having that ability just to snapshot a 5, 10, 15, 20 second snippet of play must be magical for those who access this service.
Oh, it is. I've gotten phone calls from people all over the country. A grandma from Pennsylvania recently called, and she was just over the moon with the fact that she could watch her grandson play. And a lot of this, honestly, Rick, it's not about your kid's the all-star in the league. Like,
Yeah.
some of this is really, we want to see Johnny get his first hit, and we're at every single game because we want to see that happen, because we know that he's going to grow from that moment. But you can actually save it as well. I had another dad call me and say, I can't believe that we have this. We got this, perfect timing because my son hit his first big boy home run over the fence, and I can now save that and use that at his wedding or put it on Facebook or any of those things. So it really is a magical moment, like you said. I wish that I was not standing on the field as much and sometimes videoing my son, but that's how I volunteer.
I think, from a sales perspective, it must be utopian, even though we're in the midst of a global crisis. If there was ever a silver lining, is companies' ability to adapt and innovate. What are you seeing? What are people are saying to you about your service?
I think just people are thrilled that it is even a possibility. I think when you get into the conversations with people, their first instinct is, oh, that's great. We can record everything. And then how does it work after that? And I'm like, no, you can actually just open your phone and watch from anywhere in the world, um, at any time. So it makes it like a very enjoyable situation. It's easy to use. What was the original piece of that question so I can
No,
answer
just
directly?
about the innovation and the ability just to, tap into this technology. And like you've just elaborated, you've talked about the mobile nature of this. Is it, is there a full production center? I know that mobile technology is, becoming far more compact. I
Mhm.
guess there's that side of it, but is it costly to get involved with this? From, I guess, many high schools and things might be able to fund it, but what about, the smaller people that can't
Sure.
necessarily
No, I think
afford it.
we pride ourselves on being an affordable solution that's an HD quality feed that also has the bells and whistles. A lot of the companies that are doing this are, for lack of a better word, they're just guys that sell cameras. So they've got a warehouse of cameras that they're just selling, and there's no customization on the back end. So the innovation piece is really us building this from the youth sports, parents' mind to where we wanted it to be an easy platform. We wanted kids to be able to use it as well as grandparents and everybody in between. The innovation piece is really about us delivering, you know, quality to people that are kind of in the same world as us. We're not just putting up cameras and saying good luck with it. We're hand holding. We are setting up the admin on the back end side.
Hmm.
We're also, you know, like I said, customizing. We can actually take whatever league it is. Let's say you guys got a cricket league. We can take, the logos from the cricket league. We can put, images that you've submitted. It can feel like your actual own web page, just,
Yep.
through the game stream platform.
So watermarked and everything else just to tailor it to your own brand, basically.
Mhm.
As a coach, I'm on the field, and oftentimes it goes from sunny, and next thing you know, we're standing in torrential rain. I
Sure.
love technology, and I certainly don't like drowning it. What happens with inclement weather?
So we've had cameras on fields for 3 years straight, and the sun in California, zero issues at all. I think if you live in a place where it snows or if it's rainy, it's there's a basically a hood on the camera so that it's protected from the weather, but they're completely indestructible. We actually used to fire baseballs off of the cameras with like a pitching machine just to see the durability there.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've had four calls through customer service in the past 3 years, which is two where grandma couldn't figure out how to get on. One was a baseball hit the camera. It went blurry for a second.
Yep.
With the ability to remote into it, we can remote in. We flipped it on, flipped it off, reset it, and then within 30 seconds, the picture comes right back up.
Because I've done my
Um,
research, I looked at the system. So they're essentially closed circuit using satellite technology. Is that how it works? And they're dedicated.
Absolutely. Yep. We've got, a partnership with Viasat, who is the world's largest satellite and internet provider, which gives us the ability to drop internet anywhere in the world. Um, what I mean by that is, I opened up a league in the Palos Verdes area, which is quite an expensive area in California. But, there's a ravine, so you go down to their league, and then all of a sudden, all connectivity is gone. They were talking to other, ISP internet providers, and, they found that, or what they found was that they'd have to build a tower, and it would cost them $30,000 to even get internet connectivity. But we have the ability to just drop a dish. So we dropped a dish on their snack bar. We can source internet that way, and then they're up and running in no time. So we make it easy. We want to be a one-stop shop. We want to have the ability to kind of, maneuver quickly and, fill the void. So if there are issues that come up and people don't have access to internet, we can do that 100%.
Thank you for sharing. This has been a wonderful call. I love this product. I love this idea. Being a coach myself, again, it's pricking up my ears. Absolutely. Uh,
Well, on the coaching side of thing, we've got, I'm talking to a high school right now in Arizona. It's like an ex-Major League Baseball player guy who's the coach now, but he wants to put 5 cameras on the field, which, could be overkill, but from a
every
coaching
angle covered.
aspect, Yeah, from the coaching aspect, what he wants to do is have a camera on the third base side, the first base side that are focused directly on the pitcher or the hitter.
Yep.
And he wants to close those. So like you said earlier, we have the complete ability on the back end to, understand who is a registered user. It's completely secure, obviously, because we're in the youth sports world. But he can also turn those two cameras off. So no one else can view that except for him. So after the game, he can pull film and almost, act like a college or a pro, coach, to where he can say, look, you're dropping your shoulder here, you're doing these things here.
Ah.
And the end user doesn't actually get to see those views. So absolute great coaching tool as well.
So there's only the dedicated larger facilities that you build dedicated cameras into. Is there a mobile type service for games that are not at home?
Absolutely. So we probably weren't going to launch this right now, but we have GoDog Game Stream, which is more of a fixed install solution. So that is definitely where we're, installing cameras that are going to stay at the facility so that they can monetize those over the year. We've got something called Event Stream. So Event Stream is where you play on multiple fields, or you're hosting a tournament on the weekend, and it's not necessarily they don't have cameras. So we can show up, light up the fields in a non-permanent type of install, view that, plug that into our platform, and then take it down when the tournament's over. As well as we've got the ability, a product called Team Stream, which is, let's say you're a coach and your practice field changes all the time, or you're just playing on different fields. You can actually put your camera on either a tripod or on the fence somehow and record that and send that straight to our cloud to then go straight to the platform. So we do have the ability to do that. We have not launched that fully yet because we know that will be a very successful tool. The challenge is if you've got multiple people, trying to do this on their own and it's not a fixed camera, it could be a wobbly shot. And then if they put that on, social media somewhere and it says, GoDog Game Stream, it might not be the views we're looking for. So that is in our back pocket to launch, a little bit further down the road after the, fixed installs really get going.
It's the best time to be living. Technology is absolutely incredible. I remember growing up, a lot of this didn't exist. I don't know about you.
I feel fortunate to be a part of it. It's something that started as just a really, wonderful idea, and it's now turned into something that is just like a runaway train. And we just brought on about 20 field sales people around the country. So I've been tasked with building a team. We've got, reps in all parts of the country right now selling, and, that was very much a need of mine because I was, I'm making notes everywhere, and my office looks like a mad scientist right now.
Can only just imagine. Now, speaking of which, the My Future Business audience is made up of entrepreneurs and business owners, those who are looking for insight, tips and ideas on how to better manage teams and do more of the operational side of sales. I was wondering if you could share a little bit about your experiences and some of the positive things that you can share with the My Future Business audience.
Absolutely. So, the way that I look at this is, I love your conversation earlier about just talking like friends and, old friends over coffee. Mm-hmm. That's really my approach to this, because this is such a, company that's so close to our hearts that we built from scratch that, really was built from a community standpoint of parents where we wanted to keep people involved. So, in my interview process, like, of course, there's, certain personas we're looking for, whether you're an existing coach or whether you're, an athletic director at a school, or, hey, maybe you just, have kids in sports and you really get the concept and you love it. So yeah. I've looked at several different types of folks, and, the whole conversation has been very casual and organic on purpose, because what I'm trying to do is find people that want to be a part of our team, that want to work hard, not be, it's not a typical sales structure where, I'm in charge and I just hammer everybody throughout the week. We really are looking for people that are, entrepreneurial thinking, that want to go out and stir it up themselves. And that's really worked so far. We've got a guy based in Kentucky who is, a travel ball coach, and he coaches baseball pretty much 7 days a week. He teaches lessons, and it's a great side hustle for him in a sense, because he's not looking at this as this is going to be my full-time job. Of course, it can easily, morph into that, but he'll come back from his day, and his network is full of baseball folks and complex owners and this already. So Josh has done quite well, uncovering the big ones, if you will. So we've got, like a 10 field install that's, being finished actually today and tomorrow in Virginia. And, I'm looking for people that just really resonate with the community driving piece. The fact that they want to get kids back on the field, however that looks, we're going to have to figure out a way to do that. And this has definitely become a very viable option for most people.
Absolutely, sooner than later, because it's also about our kids, our youth's mental health. The ability to get out on the field is so important.
Yeah, I mean, that's where they grow. I mean, that's a lot of their social activity is formed that way as well. And, being in California, we've been on lockdown for quite a while and still are. And, they canceled our season. So, my son was kind of cooped up, and, I can take him to the park and we can play as much as possible. But, there is something to be said about that connection with, his friends and his peer group, and just the camaraderie that you get being a part of a team, especially at that age.
Do you find that the older generation that may not necessarily be as I guess across technology, the ability to pick up a mobile phone and log into this system? I guess, is there an app? Is it hard to use? Walk us through that side of it.
No, it's not hard at all. Basically, what you do is, if you're a part of that league, or you're, invited by a family member that is part of the league, it gives you a simple like user registration where you put in your email address. Then they'll send you an email, and you click the link, and there's a passcode that gets you right into it. And the second you log in and put your passcode in, it takes you to the player, and you can go either watch on-demand games, you can watch live games, or, after being a part of the platform, you can start to save games and, look at the schedule that is, listed for the next 2 months, and just, like certain things so that you can put those in your own feed. So you know exactly when the game's happening and how to get it. But to answer that question, absolutely. We wanted to make it easy for grandparents, for kids.
Mm-hmm.
My son, he'll come back from, a game, and he's like, Dad, I want to go watch on GoDog. I'm like, we just played.
I don't care, Dad. I want to watch.
He goes, yeah, but I did really well in the third inning, and, I really want to get that hit that I got. And, he'll make his own little highlight reel, and, it's really great for the kids. And, I wish I had something like this growing up as well.
I can see how after a game that I would come home and I would want to open an editing software and take all the highlights, the snippets that I really enjoyed, and make my own sort of video collage, if you like. Is that something you can do? You can download the content to your local computer and save it?
Absolutely. So you can make a highlight clip up to 30 seconds. There's bookmarking features. There's DVR, so you can scroll forward, scroll back. You can download the full game, and that will just end up on your desktop as an MP4.
Wow, that is fantastic. Just absolutely love it. I feel like, where do I go and sign up? This is just amazing. Now, just quickly, I want to know a little bit about your experience in a rock band. You traveled the world in a rock band.
I sure did. So I grew up playing sports. I, like most kids, had goals of becoming a major league player, and, that was really what I grew up doing. And then, got to high school, I broke my arm, not that that's an excuse to stop playing, but kind of, got into music and, joined a band, and we actually started to do quite well locally. So we started touring on the East Coast, and then I ended up moving after college to Pennsylvania and joined a band out of Pennsylvania. And then we ended up moving to New York City. We got a record deal there. So recorded a couple records, did that. And then I grew up with a band out of Florida, which was pretty large back in the early 2000s. And they said, hey, you want to go on tour with us? It starts next week and it's in Japan. I said, yeah, I think I want to do that.
Yeah, let's go. Not even a second thought. I could just tell.
No, I just, I put the stuff in my, parents' garage and just hopped on a flight. And then, the next 6 years was spent traveling the world, getting paid to travel the world. And I basically lived like a rock star in a sense, even though I wasn't, technically the rock star.
Yeah.
We had a blast. I got to travel the entire world. I went to Australia a few times, even before I worked for a company based there. it's something that you just, I don't know if it's luck. I don't know if it's the right place, the right time, but I think life's about saying yes and jumping into things and, seeing where it could take you. But had a blast doing that. Got to meet a bunch of great folks, went on tour with, some legends that like I would consider, my heroes growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely a fun experience. And, people love it. It wasn't Motley Crue. It wasn't that crazy, but it was a lot of fun. And, I think that the biggest part for me was that I got to see the entire world and I got paid to do it, which was really,
Fantastic.
hard to come by, I think. Yep.
Now, when you became a parent and everything seemed to change, and you started to focus on more about the business, I'd love to get your take on that transition of being that free rock star lifestyle living type of guy to a parent, and how that changes your perspective and how important that family and sports and things became to you.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're spot on with that. You can't, after you have kids, you can't be on the road like that. So, even if I was staying in nice hotels and whatnot, I was still living out of a duffel bag and,
Yeah.
traveling the world. And it sounds luxurious and fun, but there are times where you're just exhausted and you just want to see your kids. And, fortunately for me, I was able to get out of that traveling world before I had kids. But, it was one of those things where, I always loved sports. I kind of grew away from it, kind of in my 20s because, I was touring with music, in bands, and that was really kind of what I was up to at the time. And I was thinking, I want to work for a record label. And, obviously the music industry is taking a turn as well.
Yep.
But, having children and like, I think as a parent, the ability to connect with them, and you don't even really know what that's going to be until they start to grow up and show their interests. And, like my daughter, I'll spend hours doing artwork with her and we'll build things. And she, claims at 8 years old that she wants to be a furniture builder, which is amazing. So,
Yeah.
we'll tool around in the backyard and do that kind of stuff. But, the sports thing really was, my son came first, and he was a very active kid, always jumping around. We had a trampoline that he was all bouncing around in, and his first word was ball. And, being in this youth sports world now, there are people that, try to manufacture their kids and like,
Yep.
train them overly. And, that really wasn't my goal at all. It was to give him a platform or a base to where he can understand why these things are important, why it's important to be a part of a team.
Yep.
And, fortunately for me, he started to get really good. So, we joined some travel teams, and, it really became this moment, Rick, for me, that I was like, oh, I needed something that I could truly connect with my kids on.
Yep.
And, I don't have any, I don't have any delusions that he's going to be some like pro football player or basketball player or any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great if he does. I'm not pushing him to do that. I think I'm trying to come at it from a healthy standpoint to where it really is about my interaction with him and the memories that he's going to be able to remember. And I think that's what was pulling on my heartstrings back, a few years back when I was on a plane. I knew they had a game, but I couldn't be there because I had to, take this meeting and I had to do my job. But, I think that's really what forced GoDog, and it forced us wanting to be a part of this in such a bigger way that, having children and being a part of their journey is really the only thing that matters to me at this point.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that it's sports related. So it's, for now it's great. If they get super involved in, piano later on, we'll take that path. But,
well, this is the wonderful thing about the My Future Business show, Mike, is that I try to bring the human element to organizations, to corporations, because there are people with feelings, families, needs and wants behind these ventures. And I really do appreciate you spending some time talking about those things. Now, in terms of GoDog Game Stream, when people want to find out more, they want to touch base with you, where are they going to go?
So they can go to our website. We've got a contact sales, which will go directly to me on the website, so they can drop in. There's a quick questionnaire that's like, where are you from? How many fields? Or, what sport are you related to? But that'll immediately, find me, and then I will make a phone call or send an email and respond. And, I think what's been really great for us, we talked a lot about technology, but, up until maybe 2 or 3 months ago, like I wasn't the biggest Zoom guy. I wasn't on Zoom all the time. And COVID-19 hit and we're doing Zoom, trivia nights, and, the kids are having to learn, by being on, some kind of platform like this. So
Yep.
It's definitely forced us into a completely different world, but it's something that I think is not going to go away.
No.
So, basically the way that works is after you inquire about GoDog, we will hop on a Zoom call. I think we pride ourselves on being, customer service company first. We're not just here to sell people stuff. We really want to connect and understand what they're looking for, and, spend their money like it's our money, because at the end of the day, we want them to be excited about the quality of the product. And, we'll hop on and, honestly, I'll use Google Earth, and we'll satellite image, certain fields. And then we'll look and see like how far from the snack bar is the internet, and how do we get the internet to the backstops. And we'll just kind of put together a scoping situation for operations. And, from there, that's kind of how it kind of steamrolls into an install and actually getting to utilize the GameStream platform.
Well, there you go, everybody who's on the call today. If this sounds like something that's going to be of benefit to you, the youth who you work with or coach, or the organisations that you're associated with, certainly let them know about GoDog Game Streaming. Mike, in closing, it has been such a wonderful opportunity to spend some time learning about you and GoDog. Thank you so very much for spending some time with me on the My Future Business show today.
Thank you so much, Rick.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.